Lama from Afar. So actually, we have already gone a few words, few sentences before, but well, I can start from the beginning today.
Mm.
And there are quite a few texts on calling the Lama from Afar. So whenever like a student, a great master, when they miss their root guru or their Lama, then they compose a text and praising their root guru and remembering them like that. And there are so many different texts of calling the Lama from Afar. And our Rinpoche has also written one praising the 16th Karmapa. So sometimes we do that. There are some other very famous ones. There's also a very short one by the Shama Rinpoche. But the one that we are going through is by the written by Chamko Kongtrul Lotutai. And he was born in 1813 and he lived till like 1899. So he was alive for like almost 80 something years. And we will be going through this. And so here the text calling the Guru from Afar, and the special name of the text is a supplication to pierce your heart with devotion, so that you can have more devotion and faith. And then we will start with the text. And usually what we do is whenever we are doing like Guru Yoga and sometimes like a special day of our gurus, then we recite this text. And what we do is when we recite this, we try to recite this in a very melodious way, and not only melodious way. So when we are reciting this, we try to have more faith, we try to gain more devotion to our Guru. And not only from your mouth. So we try to recite this from our heart. And we try to remember that our root guru is more important, or at least not less than the Buddha himself. So by remembering him, we try to recite this. And then we start with the text. Lama keno tenchen sawe lama keno tisum sangi ki ngo lungdo tamshu ki chukne paso kiding ngata sawe lama keno. So here what we are saying is first Lama keno is Lama means our root guru or guru, and keno means please think about me. And when we are talking about like very general Buddhism, the main difference being between Buddhist and non-Buddhist is having faith in the three jewels. So if you have faith in the three jewels, then you are a Buddhist. If you don't have faith in the three jewels, then you are not a Buddhist. So this is the main difference between being a Buddhist and non-Buddhist. So it's not like if you are a monk, then you are Buddhist. If you are not a monk, then you are not a Buddhist. Or if you like any other things, it's just what you believe. So what you believe makes you a Buddhist. So and what do you need to believe is that you have the faith and devotion to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And within Buddhism, in Vajrayana practice, sometimes we don't say the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We say Lama, Yidam, and Kado, or something like that. Or we just say that Lama is the most important. So, and when we say Lama, sometimes people might think, oh, then you might not be a Buddhist because you have faith and devotion to your Lama, but not to the Buddha, to the Dharma, and the Sangha. But it's not like that. When we have faith and devotion to the Buddha, we do have faith in the Buddha, to the Dharma, and the Sangha. So here the first few lines is talking about root guru, who is not in any way different or less from the Buddha, from the Dharma, and from the Sangha. So here it says, kind Guru, think of me, who is the essence of the Buddha of the three times and source of the sublime Dharma of statements and realization, sovereign of the Sangha, the assembly of the noble ones. Root Guru, think of me. So here we are describing about the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And all these three qualities are within our Guru. So we respect the Buddha very much. And we respect the Buddha very much because he showed us the way. He showed us the correct way, how we can remove our attachment, how we can remove our anger, how we can remove our ignorance, and all this. So, and that he had all the qualities, good qualities. He had gained all the good qualities, and he had removed all the mm, bad qualities. But having gained all the qualities and removing all the bad qualities is very special. But uh, it doesn't affect us much. So he gained enlightenment, but if he didn't give us teaching, then it's not going to be benefit for us. So we have very great faith in him because he gave the teachings, and whatever he knew or whatever he gained, he shared with his students. But the only problem is when he gave the teachings, we were not there. So maybe we were there as in our previous life, but not in this life. So we didn't get the teachings directly from him. And from where do we get the teachings? We get the teachings from our Lama. And the teachings that we get from the Lama is in no any difference between the teachings that the Buddha gave when he was alive, the teachings that he gave to his students. The exact teachings are given by our Lama to us. So we think that our Lama is more important than the Buddha himself. So that is why we pay respect and we have devotion and faith the most to our Lama. And he is equal to the three times of the Buddha. And what he said, or what our Lama said, or what our Lama teaches, is exactly the same teaching the Buddha gave. So it is the Dharma, and he is a Sangha himself also. So that is why we believe that our root guru or our Lama is three in one. Is the Buddha himself, and he is the Dharma, and he is the Sangha. So that is why we take refuge in our Lama. So here, uh, uh, and then we ask him to please think of me, because if he doesn't think of us, when we say think of us, it doesn't mean just think of us. We are asking him to think of us and give us teaching, so that we will be able to follow his teachings. And the only way we can get enlightenment, the only way we can remove our attachment or remove our anger or remove our ignorance is getting teachings from our lamas and then practicing them. And if we are able to practice, then we will be able to lessen our attachment, lessen our ignorance, lessen our anger, and all this. So if our Lama thinks of us, gives us teachings, shows us the way, and then if we practice, then we will be able to get enlightenment. So just only because if he shows the way, that's not going to help also. So he needs to show us the way, and then we need to follow the path. And only after that we will be able to remove off all the negative emotions. And then Jinlap Tuji Terche Mudu Namniki Chune Tinejiku Zavela Tino. So here what it says is like in the text, great treasure of blessings and compassion, source of the to see this, enlightened activity that grants all wishes, root guru, think of me. So our root guru is like a great uh, treasure which consists of so many different compassion and blessing. So it doesn't empty. So he can give us so many different teachings. He can show us so many different ways, and there are so many ways to improve our knowledge, diminish our attachment, diminish our negative emotion, all this. So our Lama has all these special qualities, and then he gives us the teachings, and then he shows us the way, and he has the way or the path or the teachings that he gives us will make us gain enlightenment and or like realization. And when we are talking about realization, they are like two realization. One is very ordinary realization, and what is like very extraordinary realization. The one is like getting enlightenment, and the one is very ordinary, just having some special power, or maybe like less attachment, less uh, anger, less jealousy, like that. But one is just getting enlightenment. So they are like normal and extraordinary. So here, when it says like two cities, it means those two, normal and extraordinary, two different realization. And uh, we are asking him so that because of his grace, he shows us the way, and then we practice, and then we will be able to achieve both of the realization, not only the ordinary one, but also the special one or the extraordinary ones. Uh, and so please think of me again, the Lama, and we are requesting him to think of us and show us the way. And after this, Lama Hoba Mebakin, total Chugu Lonis, Tazo Korwakim, Tejen Dakushin to Tong. So here I can four lines. Guru boundless light, think of me, regard me from the expanse of the unconstructed Dharmakaya. Lead me wandering throughout samsara because of my evil actions to rebirth in the pure land of great bliss. So here we are asking to think of us to so many different deities. Like sometimes here we are talking about Amitabha, and then later we are talking about Avalokiteshvara, and then Guru Rinpoche, and so many different deities. But in actual, they are all like our, in essence, they are not any different from our Lama. So we are visualizing our Lama as so many different other deities. Sometimes we visualize him as Amitabha, sometimes we visualize him as Guru Rinpoche, and sometimes we visualize him as Dorje Chang, and all these different deities, we can visualize our root guru as them. And the main thing is sometimes our faith and our devotion sometimes gets little diminished when we see our Lama as himself. We see him getting old, we see him getting sick, sometimes we see him getting hungry, sometimes we see him getting weak. And when we see all this, sometimes we feel that, oh, our Lama is quite ordinary. So, not to have that kind of thinking, we visualize our Lama as a deity. So we can think, whenever we are practicing, whether we are practicing White Tara, Green Tara, Amitabha, Guru Rinpoche, we always visualize that deity as our root guru. So we can have more devotion and more faith to our root guru. So that is why whenever we are practicing any deity, we visualize that deity as a transformation of our root guru. So now here we are uh, asking Amitabha to think of us. Lama Oba Meba Kema, total Chugu Ilong is Tazo Lengi Korwa Kama, Tejen Taku Shuta Chukong. So, in short, what we are saying is, Amitabha, please look at me, think of me, and from his knowledge, please know that not only me, there are so many other sentient beings who are stuck in the samsara. And please take all of us to your realm or Amitabha realm, and to show us the way. And sometimes here, like in this universe, we have so many different types of human beings. Sometimes we have so many attachments. Some of us have so much desire. Some of us have so much pride. Some of us have so much jealousy, and there are so many disturbances. Even when we want to do something, there are always some other actions or other activities which uh, disencourage us, or sometimes they are stopping us from doing good activities. And sometimes we want to read like Buddhist text, and then again we have some disturbances. Sometimes we need to do some work. Sometimes there something happening with our families. Sometimes with our friends, and then all this disturbs our practices. But when we talk about these pure realms like of Amitabha or like Grintara or whatever, we believe that over there it's not like that. Everybody has the compassion, and all of the practicing, and everybody is supporting each other. And when they are supporting each other, then the practice gets more beneficial. And when we see that, we also want to practice. It's just like in a very good retreat center. And usually, when we are here, we see our friends watching movies. We want to watch movies. We see them shopping, and we also want to do some shopping. We see them eating good food. We also want to eat good food. And all this makes us have less time to practice. But when we are in retreat and we see all of them practicing, we see them most of the time doing prayers, most of the time doing meditation, most of the time they are receiving teachings from the retreat masters, like that. And when we see them, then we also have the encouragement to practice, to do like them. And sometimes when we get little demotivation, then when we see them, we want to practice. So that helps. And we say that the main reason we are going to retreat is we are not ready to fight now. When we say fight, we are talking about our negative emotions. We are not ready to fight with our attachment. We are not ready to fight with our anger. We are not ready to fight with our ignorance. And when we see someone we like, we get more attached. When we see something we like if we see something like good gadget or maybe good house, beautiful
Mm.
cars, all this, then we get more attached. The more we see them, the more we get attached. And that is the main reason we have so many advertisements. You see the same product everywhere. You see mall, you see on the road, you see at the airport, you see in the plane, and that is because they want to advertise. And the more we see them, the more we get
Mm.
attached.
Yes, yes,
And then the
exactly.
more we get attached, yeah, we want to buy them. So
Mm.
that is why
Mm.
we are not prepared. And it's not only with the good and beautiful things, it also with the bad things. The things or the people that we don't like, the more we see them,
Mm.
the more we get angry. So that is why we have to run away. And for us, we cannot run away to Amitabha land. We cannot run away to Green Tara Pure Land. We cannot run away to our Logadeshwara Pure Land. What way we can run is we run to retreat. So we go to retreat. So some of us practice for 1 week, some of us practice for 1 month, and a normal, like in our tradition, where we practice for 3 years and 45 days. So that is like a set of most of the important practices. So we run to the retreat, we receive teachings from a retreat master, then we only have like few people. Everybody is very committed to the teachings, so everybody is practicing. And sometimes when we get demotivation, then we see them, then again it motivates us to practice more. So that is why we go there. And in retreat, also, it's not like that all of us are bodhisattvas, and definitely we are not all Buddhas. So, but still, when we are in retreat, seeing them helps us to practice more, helps us to spend more time in practice, helps us to spend more time in receiving teachings. So by knowing that just in retreat, it helps us so much uh, putting in more time in our practices. But if we are like in a pure land of Amitabha or Grindara, where all the people are there, all the beings there are only bodhisattvas or Buddhas. So when we have like that type of motivation, it's much easier for us to get more motivated and much easier for us to do more practices, because when we see bodhisattva practicing, then it encourages us. Uh, so they are spending so much time on practicing, so it will definitely affect us. So that is why we are praying that, oh, please, Amitabha, think of us, not only me, but there are so many other sentient beings in this world. So please think of all of us and then take to your pure land so that we will be able to practice, and seeing all the other beings in the Amitabha Pure Land, maybe all of us also get encouraged and practice. And then when we practice, we get enlightened. So it's much easier when the surrounding is the same, when the surrounding, all the beings have the same target like you, then it's much easier. But when there are so many different activities, so many different things going on, then it's quite discouraging sometimes. So that is why we are requesting Amitabha to see us and think of us and not forget us. And after that, Lama Jere Heno was a Longui Long city. Retu Tungal Sene Shishi, Kamsung Korua Dong Tuze. So here now, Lama, who is like the Avalokiteshvara, please. The first here we go from the text. Guru mighty Avalokiteshvara, think of me, regard me from the expanse of luminous Sambhogaya, completely pacify the suffering of the six classes of beings, and churn the three webs of samsara from the depths. So here, so Chenrisi or Avalokiteshvara, so please look at us from your compassionate eyes. So when we are talking about deities, there are like three forms of deities. There is the Sambhoga Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya aspect. So here, usually when we see Avalokiteshvara, he is uh, in the Sambhogakaya attire. So when we are talking about Dharmakaya, it's usually they are like naked, chuku. And when we are talking about Sambhogakaya, they are usually like wearing ornaments, wearing jewels, wearing crowns, and all these fancy clothes. And when we are talking about Nimanakaya, they are just like not too naked, not too many jewels, just like okay, just like a normal monk. So we are asking Genesis to look at us, and then we, when you see us, so please have compassion to us, and not only me, but all the six realms. So we all have sufferings. The only difference is the suffering is different, but we all have sufferings. We all want happiness. The way to get happiness might be different, but in short, we all want happiness and we all don't want sufferings. And we are asking Chinlisik to remove all our sufferings. So if we are in like more, we are like a human, and we are in human realm, and in human realm we have the suffering of like the very normal or very general sufferings of suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and then suffering of death. So most of us will have these four sufferings, and all these four suffering, when we are just saying like birth, death, sickness, old age, it doesn't sound so much suffering. But when we check it very properly, then it is very suffering. When we are inside our mother's womb, it we are in a very small place. The womb is very small. We cannot move properly. When our mother is eating something very spicy food, sometimes that also gives us very big problem in our womb. And sometimes when she is moving, then we also get shaken a little, then we get very afraid. And there are lots of suffering inside the womb when we are inside there for like 9 months. And we can think if we are stuck inside only one room, and all of us have suffered this year during quarantine. We have been like stuck in the same apartment or stuck in the same house. And most of our, and especially here in Hong Kong, the apartments are really small here. So if we are stuck in there, it's very suffering when we cannot go out. If we are just stuck there, and still apartment is quite big, but compared to the mother's womb, it's very very big. But if we visualize that we are stuck in a very small room where it is very dark, we cannot see properly, we cannot do anything, and we are too small. And obviously, it is a big suffering. It's just that when we are born, we don't remember it. But when we are inside, it's a big suffering. And old age. And old age, if we uh, are living with our old parents, or old people, then it's very easy to see. We see them whenever they are going to eat, whenever they are eating, or whenever they are walking. It's a big suffering. So when they are eating, they cannot eat properly. The things that they used to like when they were young, and when they are old, sometimes they cannot eat it. Sometimes because they don't have teeth, they cannot chew it. And then when they are walking, it's not like when they are young. So when they are walking, they have pain in their knees, they have pain in their back, and all these are sufferings that is very easy for us to see. And the third one is getting sick. So that is very easy. All of us might have been sick. So even when we have just a very normal cold, it's still a big problem. We cannot breathe properly, and whenever we are doing something, we keep on coughing, and then we have a headache, and all just a very normal cold also gives so much suffering. But if we are talking about more dangerous sickness, then it is definitely very, very huge suffering for us. So that is also a big problem. And then death. So death, when we are dying, then we remember so many things. Then sometimes we believe that, for most of us, we do believe that we have a next life. And then sometimes we are afraid of a next life. Sometimes just because of the death itself, when we are dying, we will be away from our children. We will be maybe, if we are die young, then we will be away from our parents. And then no matter whether we are young or old, when we die, we will be away from our friends. And we have been saving so much. And then when we die, we will be leaving all our wealth, all our property, and then we will be very attached to that. And then that is also a huge suffering. So even in our human realm, there are lots of suffering. So we are asking Genesis to please help us and remove us from this human realm. And it's not only in human realm, and even in God realm, there are so much suffering. And just we said that. So someone like me, I like watching football. Yeah. So when there's a football, I watch. And then when my team is playing, I watch. But when my team is playing, I never think about Dharma. So I'm all very focused on watching the football. So the Dharma, my root guru, all this Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, they don't come even for a few moments. So I'm so attached to watching football. And just like that, everybody has their own enjoyment. Some people like listening to music, some people like watching dance, some people like traveling, some people like watching movies, some people like eating. When they get to do what they like, then we don't think about the Buddha, we don't think about the Dharma, we don't think about the Sangha because we are so into the enjoyment that we are having. And if you, so for like me, when there's 1.5 hours of football, I'm so into football. And no Dharma. So just like that, if you are in God realm, it's not only 1.5 hour, it's the whole time. The life is very good. We say that whatever you like, you get. Whatever you want to eat, you will get.
Mm.
Whatever things you want to have, you will have.
Mm.
You have all the time, you have all the beautiful, and then you will be so into it that you will not think about that much at all.
Mm.
The life expectancy is very, very long if you are born in God realm. And then you will enjoy for thousands and thousands of years. And like uh, at the very end, then you will know that, oh, I am about to die. Because the clothes that you are wearing will fade away, and then they will have some jewelry like flowers, and they will also try fade away, and then your body will start to smell a little. And then when you have that, then you will feel a huge suffering. And we say that our mental suffering is more a bigger suffering than a physical suffering. And then they will have a very big mental suffering. And they will think that, oh, I've been here uh, for such a long time, thousand and thousand of years. I haven't practiced. I haven't done any good things. All I've been doing is only enjoying and enjoying and enjoying. Now I'm about to die. Now I only have like maybe few years, but they will think that, oh, it's so less. I didn't practice for thousand and thousand of years. Now I have very little time. Oh, then they will just regret, and then they will have a huge suffering, and then they will still not practice, and then they will die. So that is a very huge suffering. And even in demigod realm, they also have like magical power, like a god realm, and then they will be able to see the gods. And the gods, they are having more enjoyment than them. So when they see the gods, they will always have suffering because of jealousy. So
Mm.
the gods are enjoying, the gods are doing so many good things, so many enjoyment, and they also have a big mental suffering. And so, even if we are born in God realm, even if we are born in semi-God realm, or even if we are born in human realm, it's we all have suffering. And then talking about ghost realm, hungry ghost realm, and then animal realm, they also have the suffering. So I think it's quite easy for us to know. And sometimes it's quite difficult for us because we haven't seen the God realm, we haven't seen the demigod realm, we haven't seen the hell realm, and all this sometimes it's quite mm, difficult for us to believe or to realize that these are true. But still, even if we don't have so much faith in all this, but still, what we can believe is when we are born in this earth realm, we do have so many sufferings, even if we are born as a human or an animal. That we can see. We can see other human beings, we can see animals. All of us have suffering, so we can see that,
Mm.
and we will know that it's a big suffering. So we need to be away from this suffering. We need to get enlightened. We need to be away from the samsara. So we request Cheresit to please look upon us, think about us, and remove all the sufferings and uh, make us enlightenment. So till here we will do.
Mm.
This text is not so long actually, just few pages.
Mm.
So we'll just go little by little, so it will be much more.
Oh, okay.